This is the story of a black people's fight for freedom. Stolen from Africa and forced into slavery in the United States, many would never live as free men again. Others born as slaves would never taste freedom. Escaping north meant the promise of a better life, but the journey was by no means easy. This is the story of the Underground Railroad and the people who helped to free thousands of black people from slavery.
Fugitive slaves had been coming to St Catharines for many years. The nearby Niagara River was a favored crossing point. Some anti-slavery leaders were based in St Catharines. Among them was the white Congregationalist missionary Hiram Wilson. He had spent many years traveling throughout Ontario, ministering to the fugitive slaves, organizing schools, and working with the Underground Railroad operatives in the United States, such as William Still, to receive runaways who made Canada their final destination.
My dear friend William Still, Mr. Jasper and Miss Lucy Bell, having arrived here safely on Saturday last, and found their companions in tribulation, who had arrived before them, I am induced to write and let you know the fact. They are a cheerful, happy company, and very grateful for their freedom. They all remember you as their friend and benefactor, and return to you their sincere thanks. Yours truly, Hiram Wilson.
Another observer, himself the son of fugitive slaves, Samuel Ringgold Ward, traveled throughout Ontario to study the conditions of blacks on behalf of the Anti-Slavery Society of Canada.
We must confess that we found things better in St. Catharines than we had feared. Personally, we were treated by persons of all classes as well as we ever were anywhere. Our people in St. Catharines are not the poorest in the town by a good deal. The Negro village, of which so much has been said, is good. The property, valuable. The part of town, respectable. And whites live in the most immediate vicinity of it. Samuel Ward.
The most famous of the Underground Railroad conductors, Harriet Tubman, would also make this her base for several years.
When I was working, I groaned and prayed for old Master. Oh Lord, convert Master. Oh Lord, change that man's heart. 'Pears like I prayed all the time about my work. Everywhere I prayed, and I groaned to the Lord. And so I prayed all night long for Master. Then we heard that some of us was going to be sold to go with the chain gang down to the cotton and rice fields. And they said I was gone, and my brothers and sisters too. And then I changed my prayer. I began to pray, oh Lord, if you ain't never going to change that man's heart, kill him, Lord, and take him out of my way. Next things I heard, old Master was dead, and he died just as he lived. Oh, then I felt guilt. I'd give a world full of gold if I had it to bring that poor soul back. But I couldn't pray for him no longer.
After many heartbreaking experiences, Tubman took matters into her own hands and made the daring escape into Canada.
When I found I had crossed that line, I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person. There was such a glory over everything. The sun came out like gold through the trees, and I felt like I was in heaven.
Tortured by the thought of those still enslaved in the South, Tubman would return many times to lead scores of people into Canada. Her deep belief in Jesus gave her the assurance that God would protect her from any harm, and she only went where He told her to go. She regularly stopped at the home of the great abolitionist Thomas Garrett in Wilmington, Delaware, as God directed, and received money, food, and usually a new pair of shoes to continue her work. Her daring rescues, even while having a $12,000 bounty placed for her capture, became legendary. Some of those who stood in amazement and wonder called her Moses for leading so many of her people out of bondage.